Guess who's back in the house? I hope that you guys are having a lovely day. Christmas has come early. Amazon Prime decided to release the episode 7 of Dragula early. So I'm really excited, and so I watched it, and I can't wait to discuss this episode. So we have the top five, and it is such a strong competition at this point. Like watching the episode, I was like, I don't know who's going to be top three because they are all strong competitors. However, the only person who hasn't won a main challenge is Louisiana Purchase. So everyone is in the boudoir and they're discussing who they think has been exterminated. And so it was Maddelynn Hatter and Priscilla Chambers. Everyone agrees that they think that Maddelynn has been exterminated. And so they are correct. Priscilla walks in and it sorry, I still have a cold. And so later on in the episode, Priscilla has an exchange with Dahlia, but I'll save that for later. So they learn that the Maxi challenge is that they have to create a look for a freak show performance, and they're going to be given a wig that they have to style and incorporate into the look. So they're really excited about it, and they go back to the boudoir, and Priscilla and Dahlia get into a heated argument, and Priscilla believes that Dahlia has been acting really childish and it has been getting under her skin. And so at one point, she says that she thinks that Dahlia should have went home for that Dungeons and Dragons drag challenge, and that had not Dahlia found the key, that she would have went home that challenge. Do you guys think that was shady? It felt like it came out of nowhere. And one thing that I don't like about the editing this season is kind of like the scenes that we get in the boudoir, they're heavily edited, but some of the conversations we only learn as they're happening, and um, there isn't a kind of like chronological path to conversations that are had. Like when Maxi was eliminated, people were saying that, oh, she was annoying and we didn't like her and we're glad that she's gone. But we never saw that during the competition. And so everyone is saying that Dahlia is being a brat. She's, I guess, resting on her family name, which the viewers at home, we don't see that. And so we only discover this as we learn this information. And so it seems kind of odd to know this, um, but everyone is agreeing, except for Landon. Landon is just sitting back and loving this entire moment. Landon's expressions were hilarious, and I loved every minute of it. And so the conversation continues, and it just felt very awkward and uncomfortable. I felt like I should not have been a part of this conversation. And so it's kind of like a traffic accident where you want to look away, but your eyes are drawn. And so then Priscilla called her the B word. And I was like, oh, this is just too much, way too much. And so I was glad that that conversation ended and they started talking about what they were going to do for their freak show performances. And so, a very odd conversation comes up. Everyone talks about who they want to be in the top three. And I think most people have the consensus that it will be Eva and Landon. What I find interesting is that no one thinks it's going to be Dahlia, even though I believe Dahlia has been consistent in the competition and she has actually won a challenge, and Louisiana at this point has not won a challenge. So I found that interesting, um, that people were kind of like writing off Dahlia during this moment where it's top three. I mean, top five, top five. And so Priscilla and Dahlia then get into it again. Priscilla states that she was trying to go to Dragula World, which I believe is their pageant system. And technically, you don't have to enter the pageant system to enter the show. But during season one and season two, a lot of the contestants had actually entered the competition. Interesting fact, Valentina from the Drag Race universe entered the Dragula World pageant and won. And she is the complete opposite, I believe, of Dragula. However, she won. And also, one of my favorite local drag queens, Cornbread Jate, she entered into the competition and won as well. And she has stated that winning that competition really opened up more doors for her within drag. But she is amazing. If you haven't watched Cornbread Jate, I think I have two videos of her on my channel. Um, just search for her. It's Cornbread with a K. She is a amazing performer. So fast forward, we go to the floor show, and first I want to talk about the Boulet brothers outfits. I've never seen them in animal print, and so I actually loved their leopard gowns. They kind of look like LA has a word for kind of like tranimals, where you're kind of like a drag queen is morphing into an animal, and it gave me LA Tranimal. The gowns are exquisite. They fit so well. They're cinched beautifully in the waist. I love the exaggerated shoulder pads that they're red tips at the end of the shoulder pad. And I think it's, or is it a pillbox hat? I think they're wearing pillbox hats, but I don't know if that's the name of it. With a slight veil, and I have always loved that look. It reminds me of Grace Jones. I want a hat like that. If you know what style of hat that is, let me know. But I think it's so chic, so fashionable, and they looked really good. So the guest judges are Vander Von Odd, season one winner of Dragula, and a guy named Sieg, who he is on Face Off, which is a reality competition show. The first person up for the floor show is Landon. Landon really constructs looks from head to toe. Everywhere I looked, the there was something that caught my eye. Um, the wig looked incredible. He created the mustache and the pubic hair bush, which I thought that that was incredible. I loved the three penises. That was really cool. But just everything of his look. I really didn't see the entire look, but from what I saw, well executed. His, his freak show performance was eating glass, which I thought that that was such a risk to take, and I'm sure it's kind of like fake glass, but it looked really cool. Next up was Eva, and she finally gave us her signature clown look. She was wearing a lot of soft colors, a lot of pastels. I loved the way that she styled the wig. It looked like a completely different wig altogether. My only critique for her was that she looked too soft. And normally she does kind of like a crazy, psychotic killer clown look, but she went really soft. And her freak show performance, she had kind of like, I know what she was going for. She was going for someone who had a twin who didn't develop and was attached to her body. And that was kind of like a reveal. And then she did like a tap dance, but it wasn't strong enough for what the competition calls for. And so I was really shocked that she wouldn't kind of like really push. Um, Maybe if the baby was more, I guess, realistic looking, and maybe if she had it like talk, and maybe if she had kind of like a ribbon that said kind of like conjoined twins act, maybe it would have read um, li- like what she was trying to do with the judges. But it just didn't read well. Priscilla had her pinhead routine, and I thought it was incredible. I think she could have went more with her routine. The outfit looked expensive. I love what she did with her hair. She really did incorporate the doll with it, which she attached the wig to the doll. I think she should have used the actual like hammering the nails more into the routine. Like she hammered one nail into her nose and then removed it and then sucked it. But I think she should have had kind of like a capsule of blood in her nostril and then let it bleed out. That would have been more freak show. Then we had Dahlia. I think Dahlia's makeup looked exquisite. I love the color palette. The wig, oh my gosh, looked beautiful. I think it's the best hair she's had on the show. I loved what she did, but it looked very wavy and curly and thick. I loved it, but her outfit didn't impress me at all. I got the concept of the strong woman, but it looked really cheap, and so I was like, oh, she is going to be in the bottom. And then she removed the wig, and she had this kind of like fire um, orange wig underneath that was more kind of like slicked back, which I absolutely loved. And then she had this reveal where she was wearing more of the kind of like authentic, strong person uniform. And she stuck a bunch of pins in her breastplate and was kind of like twirling these weighted balls while doing a squat position. That sold it for me. I was like, okay, that's incredible. I love this. She redeemed herself. Then we had Louisiana Purchase. She was doing a woman with three breasts. Her costume looked great. I was having a conversation with someone about her sewing skills, and I believe that she is an experienced seamstress. I believe she does all of her costumes. She used this kind of like velvet, this crushed velvet material for the bodysuit. It looked great, and she added these very kind of like delicate lace attachments. Looked really cool. And then she had the same color material, like tassels over the nipples, and she was kind of like jiggling her breasts to twirl them in the air, the tassels. And so that was very burlesque, but it didn't give me freak show. Like I wanted a complete freak show. I wanted to feel like I was on American Horror Story freak show. And I didn't get that. I got more kind of like current burlesque performer. I would expect that from Ben de la Creme at a show in Portland and not a Dragula freak show. But Louisiana's hair looked great. But I really wish, like I was also talking with a person about Louisiana. I've noticed that her makeup has been looking the same, and it looked like she was wearing less makeup today. And so that really caught me off guard. That I hope that she really challenges herself going forward and changes her face and her paint. So this was very different. The Boulet brothers asked the contestants who should go home. So Louisiana said Priscilla, which I was shocked about that. Priscilla said Dahlia, but no one else was asked the question. And then they asked Louisiana who should win. I think that's what they asked Louisiana, like who should win, and Louisiana said me, of course. So we learned that the winner is Dahlia Black. I was shocked. I thought Landon was going to win it. So this will be Dahlia's second win. And Landon is safe, which meant that Louisiana, Eva, and Priscilla are in the bottom for extermination. For their extermination challenge, they had to staple dollars to their body. My jaw dropped. And so I was assuming, oh, they could kind of like fake it and staple the dollars to their garment that they were wearing. I was shocked when I saw that Eva had taken off her costume and was only in her underwear, and she was going to staple the dollars to her body. They actually had to staple the dollars to their body. And so Priscilla was a champion, and she started stapling it to her legs. Eva also stapled the money to her legs and even put one on her chest. Louisiana started to staple during kind of like before this happened. Louisiana said that, I have tons of tattoos and piercings, but I always faint when I get them. And so she said that, my fear is that I'm going to faint while this is happening. So Louisiana is stapling the money to her body. And after I think the third or fourth dollar, she starts kind of like feeling as if she's going to faint. And then the producers run on stage and they actually help her sit down. And then the screen fades to black and we see the shoes of the person who has been exterminated. I thought it was Priscilla because it looks like um, stockings and like some jazz shoes, which were I thought were from the baby doll look. But we see that it's Eva. Eva. I could not believe it. I thought it was going to be Priscilla. I thought Eva was going to actually win the competition. So this is a huge shock. I am curious as to what you guys think of Eva's extermination. There are a lot of theories that the Boulet brothers were really trying to push Eva to win this competition. And so I actually respect their decision. Eva was in the bottom the previous week, um, but she won two main challenges, which is very unfortunate. And Louisiana has not won a challenge, but Louisiana conquered her fear and actually did it. I thought that Louisiana was going to say, I'm not going to do this because, like, I have a chance of fainting and I can injure myself. And so I really love Louisiana and I have a greater respect for her because she actually went through it and um, she knew that she was going to faint and she did, but she did it and she conquered her fear. And that is beautiful. So let me know in the comment section who you actually think will be top three now that Eva is out of the competition. We we now have the top four. So it's Landon, Priscilla, Dollya, and Louisiana. Louisiana has not won a challenge. Dollya has won two challenges. Landon has won two challenges. And Priscilla has won one challenge. So we have one more episode before we learn who is going to be top three. So let me know who your top three will be. Let me know what you feel about Eva being exterminated. Who do you think should have been exterminated? What do you think about the back and forth between Dollya and Priscilla? Were you uncomfortable by it? Do you feel exactly the way Priscilla feels? Um, I hope that you guys loved the episode of Dragula. I did. And until next week, love yourselves, love everyone in the community, including our trans brothers and sisters, because they are the most vulnerable. Have a great day, guys. Besos.